Welcome to Star Wars Doctrine. Star Wars fans, thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate your guys' support. If you've been following on Instagram and Facebook, you would have known that I put out a post just recently about how I personally felt that Anakin Skywalker should have been at the end with Luke and Leia appearing to Rey. That was my personal thoughts. I kind of wanted to get yours, so this is kind of a follow-up video to that. But yeah, it was really interesting to see a lot of your guys' different takes. I thought at first I was like, yeah, everybody's going to think that Anakin should have been there. But I was surprised. A lot of you guys are like, no. And I got a couple different, good feedback. So someone was saying I really would have liked Ben Solo to be there with them. And I thought about that. I'm like, you know what? That would have been really fitting. So someone said they wished all the Jedi were there in the Force Ghost appearance with them, that all of the Jedi that were the voices and that they didn't just appear as voices. And I agree with that too. I thought that in that particular scene when Rey hears the voices, we should have been able to visibly see the Force Ghosts. But anyway, so this got me digging a little bit, and I was able to find some stuff that Chris Terrio has said. He's been doing lots of interviews lately. One thing I will say is he's given us a lot of fun stuff to talk about, so I'm really thankful for that. He's answered a lot of good questions about the Rise of Skywalker and stuff like that. So let me read you this quote on that particular topic. He says, "We spent hours and hours talking about this and debating it, and we decided that the moment when the Jedi have to be there for Rey, when it dramatically counts, is when she hears their voices. So seeing them all at the end would be a lovely grace note, but we thought that Rey seeing her two masters, two Skywalkers, was stronger. Rey was in the unique position of having been trained by two Skywalkers." That's a good point. Which is what's going on in the moment where she destroys the Emperor. It's her, Luke, and Leia standing together because she's got the two Skywalker sabers in her hands. And that was like, I thought that was really cool, the parallel that Chris Terrio said they were trying to draw with having Luke's saber, well, Anakin's, but the Skywalker saber, and Leia's saber. Both, it was like her masters were helping her fight Palpatine, and I never looked at it like that. It's really cool. JJ kind of tries to do a lot of cool symbolic things like that, and I think that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And George Lucas was kind of into stuff like that, and there's lots of symbolism in the prequels and in the originals as well, so I thought that was really cool. And, it is interesting to know that him and JJ did talk about the fact of maybe having more Force Ghosts appear to Rey. And I have to say, even though I really do like, they make good points and good reasonings, at the end of the day, I still feel like I would have liked at least Anakin there on Tatooine, but definitely would have, but also probably would have liked Ben there as well. But he ends up, let's see here. Let me read you this next part here. He says, "We absolutely discussed who would be there at the end. It's not as though those Force Ghosts will never appear to Rey now that she really is the first of the new Jedi. I think she has all of those Jedi behind her. JJ was pretty clear about the idea that he didn't want to take away from the moment of Leia finally appearing as a Force Ghost and the twins finally being together." And once again, great points. I agree with it. I think it's awesome that Leia and Luke got to appear together, but I don't think it would have taken anything away from her Force Ghost if we would have gotten to see Anakin there with Luke and Leia, because that would have been like even more touching, because not only is it Leia's first time as Force Ghost, we're actually getting to see Anakin for the first time with his two kids in like the same scene together, like as a happy family almost, and that's all Anakin ever wanted. So to me, that would have been a lot more touching. But I know not everybody agrees with that, but and obviously Chris Terrio and JJ thought this was more impactful. So obviously they're the ones who get to make that final decision. But he does go on to say this. He says, "This might be in the novelization, but we talked a lot about how Leia lost her home. Alderaan is gone, so she could never take Luke to see where she grew up as a princess. But Luke could have taken Leia to see where he grew up as a farmer. But the twins never got to go to Tatooine together to visit Luke's childhood farm. So the idea of seeing the twins together after the sabers are laid to rest felt like it was something that was very moving to me and JJ." So he's just kind of backing up a little bit more about why they wanted Luke and Leia to appear on Tatooine. And I do think that, as cliche as it probably was, to have the ninth film, the wrap up of the Skywalker saga, to end on Tatooine, I do think it's the right choice. I've seen some people who have said, well, really it wasn't like they had a bunch of happy memories there and stuff, and I get that, but Tatooine has been one of the most prominent planets in all of the saga, and I think that it definitely is the most fitting for an end. I don't think that necessarily means Rey's gonna settle down on Tatooine or anything. I really think she was just going there to pay homage to, her masters and where the Skywalkers kind of came from. So anyways, that's it for this one. On some of Chris Terrio's comments, would love to hear what you think about which Force Ghost should have appeared to Rey at the end. As always, may the Force be with you. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video, to our channel. Thank you so much for the support.